Hi everyone, I'm Poppy.
I'm Serena.
And I'm Lemon. And this is the Witches Brew.
Just a quick note here before we get started. This episode is very gory and has a lot of blood and a lot of guts. So if you're squeamish or you don't like that stuff, I suggest you not listen to this episode. But if you do like this stuff, stick around. Yay!
Blood, guts, and murder. Woo!
All right. Enjoy, guys. So today, our case is the Black Dahlia. Woo! So this case is going to be fun to cover.
Well, isn't murder always fun?
Yeah, right? So, here we go. All right. On the morning of January 15th, 1947, a mother taking her child for a walk in the Los Angeles neighborhood stumbles upon the gruesome sight of a body of a young naked woman sliced clean in half at the waist.
The body was severely mutilated, was completely severed at the waist and drained of blood, leaving her skin a paled white. Medical examiners determined that she had been dead for around 10 hours prior to the discovery, leaving her time of death either sometime during the evening of January 14th or the early morning hours of January 15th. The body had apparently been washed by the killer. The face had been slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears, creating an effect known as the Glasgow smile.
Good job.
The cut on her face had been determined to have been made while she was still alive. She had several cuts on her thighs and breasts where entire portions of flesh had been sliced away. The lower half of her body was positioned a foot away from the upper, and her intestines had been tucked neatly under her butt. The corpse had been posed with her hands over her head, her elbows bent at right angles, and her legs spread apart.
Can we just talk about this poor kid, though? I mean, just walking with his mom, or her mom, I don't know. And
their mom.
Yeah, their mom. Don't want to misgender. And then just fucking sees his dead body. Like, how traumatic is that?
Especially for how old the kid probably was. Like, what, maybe 5? Not even, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, like, I think it was, I think it was a little kid. But,
that's gross.
Yeah, and just sees this fucking lady with her intestines tucked underneath her butt. Like,
and
all right.
the Joker smile on her face. Well, then it wasn't known as the Joker smile, but
yeah,
we know it as the Joker
close.
smile.
Same difference. Anyway, moving on. The body was just a few feet from the sidewalk, and because of the pose of the body, the mother had reportedly thought it was a mannequin at first glance. Despite the extensive mutilation and cuts in the body, there was not a drop of blood at the scene, indicating that the young woman had been killed elsewhere.
Yikes.
Right.
Near the body, detectives located a heel print on the ground amid the tire tracks, and a cement stack containing watery blood was also found nearby. Ensuing the investigation was led by the LA Police Department. The FBI was asked to help identify the woman. They used the woman's fingerprints to put a name to the mutilated body.
The young woman turned out to be a 22-year-old Hollywood hopeful named Elizabeth Short, later dubbed the Black Dahlia by the press. This was for several reasons. One, for her rumored favoritism of black clothes and dark black hair, and for the Blue Dahlia murder movie mystery that was out at the time.
That is a tongue twister. Good job there.
Yeah, I had to read that a couple times. I'm like, what? Am I pronouncing this?
But can I be real here for a second? Doesn't everyone favor black clothing over anything else?
I mean, she was a goth ahead of her time, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Black clothing goes with everything.
Don't have anything to wear? Black clothing.
Yeah,
this is currently
honestly,
what I'm wearing right now. I'm not a goth, you guys, I swear.
Honestly, yeah. Cause
just half of my closet and my shirts are black. I swear I'm not goth.
Your soul is black. The rest of you is bubbly and energetic.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So, A bit of extra information was that Short's prints appeared twice in the FBI's collection. First, because she had applied for a job as a clerk to the commissary of the Army Corps in California, and in 1943 in January, in the second one, because she had been arrested in the Santa Barbara police station for underage drinking 7 months later to that. And so the famous photo that you usually see provided with the case was actually the mug shot taken from the arrest.
Which you will see on the blog once I post the pictures there for this case.
Also, someone else please say that next part, because I am not reading it.
I'm not reading it.
Nope.
Okay. Guess we're not reading it then.
I immediately went, nope.
Nope. It's an important part to the case, though.
Then you read it. You did the research on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take credit.
I'm going into criminal justice. I guess I shall be a professional. It'll be okay. I would recommend, though, for anyone who is at least somewhat squeamish.
Do not listen to this next part.
Yeah, cover your ears. I'll give a brief summary of it that's not so bad afterward if you want to
how
hear
you can make this not so bad is beyond me, so good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun with that. Have fun trying to make this less bad.
Thanks for just all y'all throwing me under the bus here.
We love you.
All right. This is the information. The medical examiner. Fuck. Okay.
We got so far. Lemon, come on.
Okay. I know. Okay. The medical examiner noted that Short's anal canal was dilated 1.75 inches, suggesting that she may have been raped. Samples were taken from her body, testing for the
presence.
I can't. Yeah, present. Thank you. Presence of sperm, but the results came back negative.
Gross. Okay, we're done with that.
Just
Moving
the way
on.
it's said. Anyway, basically, she might have been raped. That's the summary of that.
And we're moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, wait, stop. Okay, there we go. On January 9th, 1947, a day before her murder, Short was reported to have returned to her home in L.A. after a brief trip to San Diego with Robert Red Manley, a 25-year-old married salesman she had been dating. I believe I also read for this guy that his wife was pregnant. I don't remember if you mentioned that in here, Lemon, but his wife was like 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, I believe I did at one point, but I might have
not
over that. But yeah, I had read that. I mean, basically the guy was kind of a scumbag too. So.
Yeah, aren't all guys? I mean, besides.
Can we also say that Poppy said mortar instead of murder?
Did I seriously?
I was trying not to say anything about that.
I'm sorry. I didn't even realize what I did. Thank you for calling me out on that.
As you can tell, we're a very loving friend group.
We were not ready to record today. Anyway, Manley stated that he dropped off Short at the Baltimore Hotel located at 506 South Grand Avenue in downtown LA, and that Short was to meet her sister who was visiting from Boston that afternoon. By some accounts, the staff of did I read that wrong? Oh, Blitmore. Okay, I said Baltimore, didn't I? Good job, Poppy. The staff of the Blitmore recalled having seen Short using the lobby and
lobby telephone.
Thank you, Serena.
This could be just a dry run if you want it to be, because we're all having problems reading.
We're obviously not prepared to record today. Anyway, shortly after, she was allegedly seen by patrons of the Crown Grill Cocktail Lounge at 754 South Olive Street, approximately 1/2 mile away from the Blitmore Hotel.
The FBI ran records checks on the potential suspects and conducted interviews across the nation. Based on early suspicions that the murderer may have skills in the medical field or access to medical equipment, agents were also asked to check out a group of students at the University of Southern California Medical School.
Let's be real, a medical student, they're learning. They would not have the skills to do this. If we have any medical students watching, I'm sorry. But they would not have the skills to do this.
I kind of agree. Just it doesn't seem like a medical student would go out of their way to kill someone.
To sabotage their own.
Yeah, to sabotage their own career. Like, once you have the career, maybe, but like, I don't know. Like,
go ahead.
Yeah. Once you have the career, just fucking start murdering people for all we care.
Again, this has nothing to do with anything, but okay.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, on January 21st, 1947, a person claiming to be Short's killer placed a phone call to the editor of the Examiner, James Richardson, congratulating Richardson on the newspaper's coverage of the case, and stated that he had planned eventually to turn himself in, but not before allowing the police to pursue him further. Additionally, the caller told Richardson to expect some souvenirs of Beth Short in the mail.
Creepy.
I mean, see, when he says souvenirs, I expect like a finger or something. Like, I mean...
Yeah, so like when you expect like a serial killer or not even a serial killer, just a killer to go souvenirs.
Yeah.
You expect like a body part.
I was listening to this one case from this podcast that I listened to, and this guy, this is all that I remember from the case, was he made silicone molds out of his victim's breasts and used them as paperweights, and that was his trophy.
I mean, mood, but
it's just like, okay then. So,
I mean, whatever gets you off, bro. But like,
I don't remember what case that was, but I'll figure it out.
Mood, but
all right, let's try this again.
There was a criminal minds case. I mean, it's not like it's particularly realistic, but there was a criminal minds case where this dude made candles out of like his victims, and like he cut like chunks of flesh off of them and like made them into candles. Okay. Like, that's what I expect when you say souvenirs. I want a fucking candle of this woman.
Gross.
That's horrible.
Yeah, honestly. Alright, moving on to more horribleness. On January 24th, a suspicious manila envelope was discovered. The envelope has been addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers, with individual words that had been cut and pasted from newspaper clippings. Additionally, a large message on the face of the envelope read, "Here's the Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow." The envelope contained Short's birth certificate, business cards, photographs, names written on pieces of paper, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover. The packet had been carefully cleaned with gasoline, similar to Short's body, which led police to suspect the envelope had been sent directly by her killer. Despite the effort to clean the packet, several partial fingerprints were lifted from the envelope and sent to the FBI for testing. However, the prints were compromised in transit and thus could not be properly analyzed. That sucks.
Also, if you think about it, though, like, if this person knew to clean stuff with gasoline, like, they obviously had at least somewhat of a working knowledge of, like, crime solving, or, you know what I'm saying, like, how police work, and usually a lot of people in the medical field do know that stuff because they have to aid, and it's a very close-knit group, because they work side by side. So I just think that's interesting that he knew how to, like, clear fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah. The same day the envelope was received by the examiner, a handbag and a black suede shoe was reported to have been seen on top of a garbage can alley a short distance away from North Avenue, 2 miles from where Short's body had been discovered. The items were recovered by police, but they had also been wiped clean with gasoline, destroying any fingerprints.
On January 26th, another letter was received by the examiner, this time handwritten, which read, "Here it is. Turning in Wednesday, January 29th, 10 a.m. Had my fun at police. Black Dahlia Avenger." The letter also named the location at which the supposed killer would turn himself in. The police waited at the location on the morning of January 29th, but the alleged killer did not appear.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
At 1 p.m., the examiner's offices received another cut-and-pasted letter which read, "Have changed my mind. You would not give me a square deal. Dahlia's killing was justified."
No, it wasn't. Shut up.
I mean, also, like, what a wuss. I mean, like, you obviously thought about the extent of turning yourself in, and now suddenly you're just like, no, I rethought it. You're not going to give me a square deal. Well, like, obviously they wouldn't. Like,
Well, yeah, that's not what cops do. They don't give you a square deal.
like, you would think you would have thought about that, but whatever.
People don't.
On March 14th, an apparent suicide note scrawled in pencil on a bit of fool scrap was found tucked into the shoe in a pile of men's clothing by the ocean's edge at the foot of Breeze Avenue, Venice. The note read, "To whom it may concern, I have waited for the police to capture me for the Black Dahlia killing, but have not. I am too much of a coward to turn myself in, so this is the best way out for me. I couldn't help myself for that or this. Sorry, Mary."
Poor person, dude. Yeah, the clothes included a coat and trousers of blue herringbone tweed, a brown and white Y shirt, white jockey shorts, tan socks, and a tan moccasin leisure shoes, size about 8. The clothes gave no clue.
Your shoes.
Shut up.
I'm judging this dude hard.
The clothes gave no clue about the identity of their owner.
Police quickly deemed a man named Mark Hansen, the owner of the address book found in the packet, a suspect. Hansen was a wealthy local nightclub and theater owner and an acquaintance at whose home Short had stayed with friends, and according to some sources, he also confirmed that the purse and shoe discovered in the alley were in fact Short's. Ann Toth, Short's friend and roommate, told investigators that Short had recently rejected sexual advances from Hansen and suggested it as a potential cause for him to kill her. However, he was cleared of any suspicion in the case.
Pause before you start, women. Sorry.
Fine.
Why do guys, men particularly in these cases, think it's okay to kill a woman because she doesn't accept his sexual advances?
Because men are assholes?
Just making a point here.
Never know the wiles of men. But I mean, he was also cleared as a suspect in the case. It didn't really exactly go into detail on how or why. But it is also a very popular thing for people to just fucking claim, like, doing murders even though they didn't. Which is a weird thing, like, to be quite honest with you. Like, you didn't fucking do it. Why are you claiming you did? But,
yeah,
so I'm thinking
don't
maybe
claim it if you didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking either that had happened, or the person who actually did kill Short had either killed him, or he already killed himself and then just made it look like, planted the note and made it look like he was the one who killed him. I don't know.
We will never know. That's why it's unsolved.
Thank you for that knowledge.
For sure. Anyway.
In addition to Hansen, the Los Angeles Police Department interviewed over 150 men and in the ensuing weeks who they believed were potential suspects. Manley, who had been one of the last people to see Short alive, was also investigated, but was cleared of suspicion after passing numerous polygraph examinations. Police also interviewed several persons found listed in Hanson's address book, including Martin Lewis, who had been an acquaintance of Short's. Lewis was able to provide an alibi for the date of Short's murder, as he was in Portland, Oregon, visiting his father-in-law, who was dying of kidney failure.
Oh, that's sad.
Poor kidney dude.
Not that this case isn't sad, but oh.
Yeah, right. Not the person who got severed in half isn't sad, but.
All right.
The father-in-law dying.
Exactly.
Okay.
A total of 750 investigators from the LAPD and all the departments worked on the case during its initial stages, including 400 sheriff's deputies and 250 California State Police officers. Various locations were searched for potential evidence, including the storm drains throughout Los Angeles, abandoned structures in various sites along the Los Angeles River, but the searches yielded no further evidence. City Councilman Lord G. Davis posted a $10,000 reward for information leading police to Short's killer. After the announcement of the reward, various persons came forward with confessions, most of which police dismissed as false, which, let's be honest, what you mentioned earlier, Lemon, of people just wanting to claim it.
Proof of point.
Several of the false confessors were charged with obstruction of justice.
As they should have been.
Yeah.
By the spring of 1947, Short's murder had become a cold case with few new leads. Sergeant Finis Brown, one of the lead detectives on the case, blamed the press for compromising the investigation, though reporters' probing of details and unverified reporting.
I mean, yeah, that happens all the fucking time, and you would think the press would learn by now. Like, you don't do that. I mean, I know it was popular back then to name, killers and stuff and kind of give them fun little nicknames, but, like, that just emboldens the killer. And
you should name the killer until you actually know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well for anyone involved, and usually, it's hard to get justice when the press has their nose all into everything, and I mean, I get you want to report the case, but you don't have to be, like, making up stuff and kind of pushing, things and
pushing the envelope the wrong way.
Yeah, like, and creating a frenzy over something that should be officially handled first before you do that.
Yep.
Cool. Whose turn is it?
Yours?
Yours. Okay, I told you I knew this would happen. Okay. So I guess moving on to the suspects then.
The best part of the story. In my opinion.
My favorite part is the blood, guts, and murder part of it, but okay. The notoriety of Short's murder had spurred a large number of confessions over the years, many of which... Wait, did we read this again? No,
we didn't read this. You're fine. You're good.
Wait. Hold on. Where am I? No, we didn't. You're fine.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. We're reading off a note that Lemon so graciously made for us.
That we apparently don't know how to read.
Yeah. So, honestly, I mean, I feel like maybe this should just be a dry run because we're so fucking all over the place.
Honestly, it's fine.
But, okay, anyway. The notoriety of Short's murder had spurred a large number of confessions over the years, many of which had been deemed false. During the initial investigations into the murder, police received a total of 60 confessions, most made by men. Since that time, over 500 people have confessed to the crime, some of whom had not even been born at the time of her death. Sergeant John...
That's damning.
Yeah.
Like, why would you confess to something if you weren't even born when it happened?
Wouldn't you like fact check that? Like,
Oh yeah, I would.
We're going to. So like, if you're gonna confess to something, at least be born at that time, because like
Yeah.
if you're like, yeah, I killed this person in 1930, and you're like, you were born in 1970, like fucking obviously, it's quite obvious, clearly, unless you like had a time turner or some Harry Potter shit and like went back and were like, I'm gonna fucking kill this person with a time turner.
Looping
Then,
it back.
Yeah.
If you haven't
Then,
listened to our first episode, stop listening
Yeah.
to this and go listen to the first one.
Because yeah. But still, it's just like, what are you doing? Anyway.
Stop doing that.
Sergeant John P. St. John, a detective who worked on the case until his retirement, stated, "It's amazing how many people offer up a relative as the killer." Me too. I mean, my mom could have been the killer for all I know.
No, we don't know. I'm going to adjust my legs really quick because my legs are falling asleep. Okay. The police came to consider George Hill Hodel Jr. a suspect after the 1947 murder of Elizabeth Short. He was never formally charged with the crime and came to wider attention as a suspect, after his death when he was accused by his son, Los Angeles homicide detective Steve Hodel, of killing Short and committing several additional murders.
Hodel attended South Pasadena High School and graduated at age 15 and entered the prestigious California Institute of Technology, or Caltech, in Pasadena, but was forced to leave the university after 1 year due to a sex scandal involving a professor's wife. Though this is not the only account. He had impregnated the woman and wanted to raise their child together, but she refused.
Good.
Yeah, you'll basically notice that this guy was a player and he just fucking didn't care who he knocked up.
Yeah.
He just couldn't keep his pants on, that's all.
Hodel graduated from Berkeley Pre-Med in June 1932 and enrolled in medical school at the University of California, San Francisco immediately afterward, and received his medical degree in June 1936.
Oops, I thought you were going to continue, but okay.
I mean, I can if you want. I don't care.
No, I'll read. After the establishment and success of his medical practice and becoming head of the county's social hygiene bureau, Hodel was moving in affluent Los Angeles society by the 1940s. Wow. He was enamored with the darker side of the surrealism and the. Does someone want to read that for me?
Decadence.
Thank you. Surrounding the art scene, and was friends with such artists as the photographer Man Ray and film director John Hudson. I'm not going to say that right, that's fine.
Houston?
Thank you. I can't read today. It's fine. And those who associated with them. With Ray and some other surrealists, he shared an interest in. Someone want to help me again? These are hard words. Thank you. And the darker side of art and philosophy. With the young men of the Hollywood scene, he shared a fondness for partying, drinking, and womanizing, which we all know.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think he probably had some mental health issues in just the way he acted, and he was, very interested in, like, that type of art and, sadism type of stuff, and just the way he treated women and, partying and drinking and stuff. I'm sure he had, other than being a scumbag, I'm sure he had, like, probably mental issues.
Other than being a scumbag, yeah, that's a mental issue in and of itself.
Yeah.
Hodel first came under suspicion for murder in 1945 following the death of his secretary, Ruth Spaulding, by a drug overdose. He was suspected of having murdered her in order to cover up his financial fraud, such as billing patients for tests that were never performed and to protect various valuable secrets he had obtained about police and politicians from clients for his illegal abortion services.
See, he even had, like, knowledge of police stuff, which goes back to, like, my gasoline theory.
Oh, with the
In
yeah. Gotcha.
when I was talking about the knowing that if you use gasoline it will wipe fingerprints away.
Mhm.
In late 1949, Hodell's teenage daughter Tamar accused him of incestuous sexual abuse and impregnating. Oh my God, I can't speak. Impregnating her. Yeah, after which she was given a back alley abortion. That fucking sucks. Especially, I mean, come on. Dude, you give people illegal abortion services. Can't you just do that for your daughter at least?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I mean, knowing him, he probably wanted to fucking have her child too. He was acquitted after the widely publicized trial. There had been 3 witnesses present during and whom had participated in the sex acts. 2 testified at the trial, and the 3rd recanted her earlier testimony and refused to come forward. The theory being that Hodell had threatened her into silence. The trial had caused Tamar to look like a liar, and that she had made up the entire abuse allegation for attention. Fuck this dude. Like, I don't even care if he murdered Short, but, like, this dude's a fucking horrible human.
He can't keep his pants on, even with his own daughter. That's gross.
I mean, I'm starting to think that some of the...
That's what I meant to say, but whatever.
Same difference. I mean, I'm starting to think that some of these women who didn't want to have children with him knew it was fucking up.
Yeah. Alright. Hodell came to police attention as a suspect for the Elizabeth Short murder in 1949 after the sexual abuse trial. Known or suspected sex criminals in the area were being investigated first. It had come out in trial that Tamar had allegedly claimed that her father was the Black Dahlia killer.
I mean, I'd claim that too if I were her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, seriously. Hodell's medical degree also aroused suspicion, given the hypothesis that whoever dissected Short's body had some degree of surgical skill. At least 8 witnesses claimed first-hand knowledge of a 1946 relationship between Short and Hodell. The full details of investigation came to light only in 2003, when a George Hodell Black Dahlia file was discovered in the vault at the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. The file revealed that in 1950, Hodell was the prime suspect of the Dahlia murder. His private Hollywood residence was electronically bugged by an 18-man DA LAPD task force during the period February 15th to March 27th, 1950. The transcripts of the conversations revealed Hodell's references to performing illegal abortions, giving payoffs to law enforcement officials, and to his possible involvement in the deaths of his secretary and Elizabeth Short. The DA tapes record him saying this: "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead. They thought there was something fishy. Anyway, now they may have figured it out. Killed her. Maybe I did kill my secretary." Hodell was
also... talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you read that in that accent that you did?
Do you want me to read it in the voice that I did?
Yes.
I'm not even gonna remember the voice. I'm gonna try. Where's the quote? There it is. "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead."
I love that. Also, if anybody is curious, those the files and the transcripts and stuff, if you go onto the FBI's website and look up the Black Dhaila murder, you can read some of the transcripts and some of the info in the file. Of course, not all of it, just for privacy reasons and stuff, but you can read stuff. You can see interesting stuff on, like, suspect lists that were, like, handwritten, stuff like that.
Really cool.
It's interesting. There wasn't really any, like, special information that's, we already know, but it's cool to see from back then that what they had.
Was that accent good enough for that quote?
I suppose.
I suppose.
Do you want me to finish this little blurb then? And then
you
can take over for a little bit.
Yeah, I can read. Yeah.
Hodell was also interviewed as a suspect in the nearby June 1949 murder of Louise Springer, the Green Twig murder. though evidence to support this accusation was not publicly available until July 2018.
Again, with the names. Jeez.
Yeah, right.
In October 1949, George Hodell's name was mentioned in a formal written report to the grand jury as one of the 5 prime suspects in Short's murder. But none of the named suspects were submitted to the grand jury for consideration for indictment, as the investigation was still ongoing. By April 1950, Jameson had gathered enough evidence to charge Hodell and was about to arrest him for Short's murder when Hodell again left the United States. He obtained a degree in psychiatry. Thank you. And counseled prisoners in territorial prison in Hawaii for 3 years, then moved to the Philippines, where he started a new family and appeared to have remained until 1990, finally dying in 1999 in San Francisco without charges ever being filed.
See you later.
However, I know, right? Fuck you, dude. However, his son Steve has written that he believes George Hodell re-entered the United States multiple times each year from 1958 through 1988, and specifically in 1966 to 1969 to commit more murders, and then returned to the Philippines after. What a douchebag. Honestly.
Yeah, I feel that. Alright. After George Hodell died in 1999, his son Steve Hodell, a former LAPD homicide detective, wanted to learn more about his father. During that process, he uncovered information that led him to believe that his father was in fact Elizabeth Short's killer. His investigation began with the discovery of a photo album owned by George Hodell, which contained a portrait of a dark-haired young woman who Steve Hodell believed was Elizabeth Short. During Hodell's investigation, he learned that his father may have been responsible for more than one murder. Steve Hodell also suspected his father of being the Chicago lipstick killer of the late 1940s, the
Manila
Jigsaw murder of 1967, and the San Francisco Zodiac killer of the late 1960s, among other such crimes.
I feel like this is interesting just because, like, this dude's obviously a psychopath and obviously, like, has mental issues, and I feel like you could say that he could commit other murders, but I feel like maybe the Zodiac killer is just a bit of a stretch, because I haven't looked into the difference between the crimes and stuff, but I feel like you would have to look at the signatures of the killers and whatnot, and because
you have
you
to
don't
look at the MOs.
Yeah, like you don't just change how you kill someone, you know, like I mean if you evolve, yes maybe, but usually it's in a span of time. You don't just fucking jump to different places killing people in different ways. So I mean I'm not particularly I'm convinced he killed someone, but I'm not convinced that he's a Zodiac killer. I have to do some more research into, you know, the MOs and the signatures of those two. But
I know for the Zodiac killer, I don't think his name was ever mentioned in that, so that's how I know he wasn't that. Because I just listened to a thing on that.
Yeah.
So his name wasn't mentioned in that. I'm not very great on the other murders. I actually never heard of the other ones until I just read this.
I've heard of the lipstick killer, but I've never heard of the other one. But I mean, it's also you have to take into account that it's just his son. You know, saying, "Oh, I think you know my dad did this. He might have, you know," but I don't know. Anyway.
I think that's it, you guys. Any more points that we wanna talk about while we're here?
I mean, I think
the fact that Steve Hodell was a complete asshat. No.
Yeah. I mean, I think we.
You mean George Hodell?
Sorry, yeah, George.
That dude.
Not Steve. Steve's a great guy.
Not Steve. Steve's a great guy.
I love how. Yeah, honestly speaking of, like, look at this dude who had this asshole of a father who might have killed a bunch of people, and he goes out and becomes an LAPD, like, detective. You go, bud.
Homicide detective.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no doubt.
Oh my god, dude. Like, go.
Honestly.
Be amazing. Do your thing.
Props for you in not becoming, your father, but, and it also just, I mean, I think it's interesting because, yeah, there were other suspects and whatnot, but this dude just seems so fucking guilty. I mean, like, he even fucking is just like, oh yeah, like, my secretary's dead. Like, you can't talk to her.
I may have killed her.
Yeah. And innocent people don't say that. Like,
No,
they don't go around being like...
Innocent people don't freaking get
say that.
Put on monitored by the police and say that knowing they're on recording.
And not only that, but like I said, he clearly had some mental illness, and I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to say from what he's been accused of and just from his history, honestly, just being a very womanizer, having all these parties, and just kind of being this cocky doctor of the times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really don't think it'd be that too much of a stretch for him, especially, being interested in those type of photos and that art sadistic scene world of
yeah, that was interesting to hear about, actually.
Yeah. The Ghost Adventurers did an episode where they went into the house and they were looking at the photos and stuff, and they're quite like gruesome, and the stuff that he was into. And so I honestly don't think it's much of a stretch, especially if you're into that stuff already, to want to go out and kill people.
Well, I also know I read this somewhere. I don't know where, so don't quote me on this. This could be from a completely fake source. But that because George was into like these kind of like sadomasochism, like surrealism kind of things, that like this was his way of paying tribute to that art style.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, I think I heard something like that when I was researching as well.
Well, I think if you look at it from like a profiling psychological aspect of it, I think, being interested in that art and then like looking at it, is that it probably was, killing people in that way, especially like Elizabeth Short, in such a gruesome kind of artistic, if you want to call it, way that mimics those art that he was into, probably was like somewhat of a release to him, or like a fantasy that he was kind of playing out, because when you kind of look at that and then you have that in your head of what you like, performing it isn't as hard.
Do you think he got off on the fact that he killed her and nobody knew that he did it?
Probably.
Oh, definitely.
Probably.
Yeah, especially with the quotes and stuff, he was fucking flaunting it in front of the police. But like I said, I think it was that cockiness of being a doctor. That's probably honestly why he became a doctor in the first place.
And that's also that's also a reason to like implicate him instead of like a medical student, because he has more qualifications than a medical student does. He's a freaking, what did it say? Like psychiatrist and counselor or whatever. I don't remember what the exact quote was, so something like that.
No, but
he was also the only, or one of the only prime suspects to have like surgical experience.
The crude knowledge he would need
who could have done this like such a precise surgical way.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Birdie were actually talking about this when I was doing some of the research, and she was talking about like, well, why would a doctor want to kill people? Well, it's not really that they become a doctor because they want to save life. Most doctors that are killers become a doctor because of the power and position that it holds, and that they have that ability to hold life in their hands, and they can take it whenever the fuck they want. And I'm pretty
It's
sure
also
the
really
term
good to just go, I tried to save them, and it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys heard about
I'm
the
pretty
thing
sure
where dentists would put patients under and then rape them?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Hodel was kind of doing. He wasn't a dentist, but yeah, he's drugging them and then raping them.
And then performing back alley abortions on them.
Way to keep your business going, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
Get all
We're
these
not
people
condoning
pregnant.
this, you guys. Not at all. We are not condoning this.
No, yeah.
We're just making a point.
Yeah, we're just saying brilliant business plan there, Hodel. But yeah, it was an interesting. I believe the term for that is angel of death. Don't quote me on that.
I think you're right. Yes, it is. It is. Because I listened to a podcast about that too.
Yeah. And so yeah. Also, if you think about this poor secretary, I mean, this guy was an asshole at the best of times. So like, think about his secretary who had to work in those conditions, because obviously secretaries were treated like shit back then anyway. But this dude being who just literally thinks he can have any woman who fucking breathes near him, like she obviously had to have been sexually assaulted, and there was probably more to that murder on, she may have been wanting to go to the police or something like that, and he didn't want his practice ruined.
Yeah, and he probably just killed her to keep her quiet.
Yeah.
And he knew that was the only way to do it.
Yeah, especially with like the information she knew, with his...
And that quote is damning evidence that he killed her.
Once again, that quote. I mean, this dude's a fucking idiot to think that you can say that and then, well, I should actually retake that back, because he did get away with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the dude died and had no charges filed against him.
Other than the fact that everyone almost believes he did it, he did actually get away with it, which you would think, like, that quote is so damning in itself. And I mean, I guess with the different times, because he did out of jurisdiction and stuff, but I feel like if this happened now, it probably would have been a little different scenario where they would have been able to track Hodel down to where he, fled to.
Well, yeah, because passports and stuff.
Yeah. And just different technology and stuff, and different borders and stuff and whatnot. But like you said, I guess it's kind of gonna. I mean, it's not unsolved, because like I'm pretty sure we solved it. Not us personally, but not us personally.
It remains unsolved. I want to end it because I found this really cool quote by this mystery writer, Robert Crayus. I think I mentioned this quote a couple times to you gals. So it says, quote, "Certain things are a part of the fabric of Los Angeles, and the Black Dahlia case is one of them." And I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, I think, I agree with that.
Because, like, things are in Los Angeles, there are things that are, Los Angeles is known for. And, like, this case, like, Chicago is known for the Tylenol murders. The Bean and the Tylenol murders.
The Bean? Me too, bro.
And Los Angeles is known for Hollywood and Black Dahlia murders. Murder. Wow.
Well, I mean, like I said, he did murder other people, so, but yeah, no, it's one of those things where, especially, I mean, like I said, the press suck, but at least she knows people care about her enough to want to research it and to be interested in the case.
Why do you think we're still talking about it?
Yeah. And the fact that we can say, okay, for certain, at least this dude was an asshole, might hopefully maybe gives her some sense of justice, and the fact that, it is so popular, and even though the press suck, and that is a symptom of the press, the fact that we're still talking about it now. But like I said, at least she knows people care and want to solve the murder, want to talk about it, and to invest her time into it, because she never really did get justice. And so I think this in some ways is a small symbolic way of her being able to get justice.
Well, yeah, it's why like true crime buffs like us still talk about it and give our amateur opinions on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not in any way professionals, you guys. I didn't know.
But I do, since we're talking about it, I do want to address one thing. People who aren't into the true crime, community and whatnot, do get a lot of flack for kind of sticking their nose in what people say, like, where they don't belong.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Great. But the thing is, people who actually, like, who aren't just, a fucking kids that don't know anything about it and are just kind of like talking about it. People who actually do research, and try to actually present the case in a certain way. Like, it's not out of disrespect. It actually comes from a very place of respect and the interest in the fact that, like I said, we're still talking about it, and we still want to know what happened. We still want justice. We still want to be able to uncover for ourselves and kind of give our opinions, because the cases matter to us. And so I kind of hate when a lot of people are like, oh, well, like, just let it rest. You shouldn't be talking about it. You shouldn't keep dragging it up. Well, no, it's not fair that these people didn't get justice, especially for the unsolved. And the fact that people still care about it is a good sign. It, because there's so many murders and there's so many people who go undetected and who don't have this type of thing, who don't get this media coverage and don't get the opportunity to be remembered. And I think, at least personally, I feel like it's a good thing that we can remember them in a way where we want to solve things for them. We want to talk about the case and whatnot.
In a way, that kind of solves it too, is just us talking about it and still wanting to talk about it. And I was reading more about this case after we did the notes. We finished up the notes a couple days ago. Totally not early this morning. But I was reading it, and this case still baffles LA investigators, much less, investigators around the world. Like, not in LA, because it's just widely known, where it's like, oh my God, this case never got solved, this poor woman, how can we do her justice? So I thought that was interesting.
And it's also people who keep the stories going and stuff. There have been cold cases that have been solved because of people wanting and looking into them themselves, and then the police get involved afterward, and they're like, we have the resources now, we have the DNA, we have this, where we can look into it and we can solve it. Like, I know with the John Benet Ramsey murder, like, people still talk about that to this day, and that case is still actively open. They still have people working on the case and getting DNA, and people, especially even scientists too, people hiring scientists to look into, stuff and to check different things that they didn't have back then. So I do think it's an important thing if you do it respectfully. Like, obviously, if you're not really looking into the case and you're just kind of, slandering and you're calling up fucking distant relatives of these people and, asking them for stuff, I don't think that's respectful in any sort of way. But, there is a respectful way to go about doing stuff like this. And it's bothersome that people are like, oh, just sticking your nose where you don't belong.
So yeah, I think that is our case covered on the Black Dahlia, as much justice as we could do it. Which I hope is at least some justice and information that, some of us may have not have known.
Yeah.
So, as always, I am Poppy.
I am Serena.
And I am Lemon, and this was the Witches Brew.
We will see you guys next week. Bye!
Bye.